It's the 132nd episode of the Mina's House podcast. 132. Yes, yes. I'm Mina SayWhat.
I'm Shana B.
Garnett Briscoe, a.k.a. Sherlock Homeboi.
Dexter Stuckey.
Guys, I've missed you.
It's been a while.
I know. It's just been like one thing after another. I feel like the corona has tripped us up first, and now it's like racism. Mm-hmm. Which has always tripped us up, but it's like an extra. It's like an extra, right? But it's like an extra trip now, you know.
That little Band-Aid on there, right? Peel back every once in a while.
The racism came out of nowhere and like just hit us hard, and now we like trying to not get the corona and trying to identify who's racist and who's not. Mm-hmm. This is craziness. How you guys been like mentally with all this?
I've been all right. I've been trying not to watch too much of the stuff that you see on your phone, on the news, not get too consumed by that. But other than that, I've been okay. Recently I just signed my papers to get my record expunged.
Nice.
Yes.
Thank you. I just started the petition, didn't go through yet. So right now it's just a waiting game. But other than that, yeah, just been trying not to be consumed by the stuff that, you know, we're seeing every day within the last, week or so.
Why do people shut off to this? Like, I don't have that brain, so I need to understand why some people would shut off.
I can speak to that because that can really affect me and not in a good way. I don't think that's the Garnett that you would like to see. Or anybody for that matter, as far as me getting anger or anything like that. It's just, I know my limitations on how I need to do it in order to keep myself sane and moving forward. So it's not like a thing where I want to be disrespectful or anything like that. It's just to keep my sanity at a minimum. So, I won't walk around being super angry or, taking it out on people that might not even necessarily deserve that.
Yeah.
I've been not okay. Like, I think since hearing everything or whatever, I've been like really bothered by it. I don't turn the news off. Like, I've only watched CNN and Fox News. Like, that's all I watch. It's on like right now. Like, that's just what my TV stays on. And I've been it's just been hard because it's one thing after the next. It's like at first it happened and it's the usual, like praying for the family and all that kind of stuff like that, figuring out what happened. Then it turned into like this situation turned a little bit bigger because then the protests start to happen and then people start to issue statements. So then I'm looking to see what people who I know, like I'm looking like, what did you say? What did you say? Then there's TV shows that I watch. So I'm looking at all the people on the TV shows. I watch wrestling. I'm looking at all the wrestlers. I'm looking at every brand I shop with. I got obsessed with it after a while. And I just need to know what everybody said, my coworkers, everybody. What did they say? What didn't they say? And keeping these mental notes. And then the looting really got crazy in Philadelphia on Sunday. And on Sunday, I was fine with all this stuff. And then me and my fiance, we were getting dinner, and I saw like this video that a person posted. It was like a live video, and there was people looting in South Philadelphia. And like honestly, like just seeing that, like I got like really emotional about it because there are Black people who are doing this stuff, and it's just like, while I understand like these people gave you the opportunity to do this, the way I saw it, like people were running out of stores with their kids and running over each other, it just got to me. Like that was a lot. And then to see the officers finally get charged and everything, like that's good. But I did have to take a social media break. I still paid attention to what was happening news-wise.
Yeah.
But me looking up what wrestlers are saying and what like people, that was just like too much. So I was like, you gotta chill out.
Because it's important. Like you said, it's important because you're into wrestling, so that's important to you. So it's important to see what deeper than what we watch and that entertainment value, what they're really saying. So it's funny, but it is serious as well.
Dexter, you got to start your change.org petitions. All the wrestlers who did not post something and protest them because, this is where we are right now. I mean, it's even trickling down to companies. Like, I love Pizza Hut. They donated to Donald Trump. After I saw Donald Trump basically tear gas these innocent protesters.
Not basically, he did.
Right. And then shoot rubber bullets at them. I got so emotional. I started crying because I'm like, what country are we in where the president of the United States is not allowing people to have their First Amendment freedom of gathering and addressing their government and protesting, you know? And I started crying and I'm like, for what? For him to have a photo shoot? I was so angry. And it's like, now I'm like, I love Pizza Hut. Hell, I never ate no damn Taco Bell. I used to eat at Wendy's. I worked at Wendy's for 3 days. I'm never going to eat none of them again because their CEO donated to him.
Okay, so Wendy's CEO did not donate, and they have cleared that air today. They've cleared that air. So what they put it out there because they wanted people to know.
He did.
So he made a statement. It's not him. One of their franchises donated to them. So they Wendy's wanted to be like very, very clear, and they posted on everything. Actually, what I didn't appreciate though, if y'all look at the tweets, was the way the one tweet was worded. Because again, I know Wendy's is very like funny on social media and they try to be that way for the culture. But this ain't a time where I need you to be trying to meet me on my level. Just try to, be who you are and maintain that integrity. So I appreciated that they came out and said, listen, it wasn't the corporation. It was an individual franchise. It's funny though, because they won't tell you the franchise. And I'm like, let us know. Let us know what franchise it is. Because if that's in your city, and you don't want to, go to that franchise anymore, let us know. But where I had pause and problem with Wendy's was, again, the way that they put the statement out was trying to talk like, and I'm not going to say any particular race, but it was trying to talk like a young person would speak.
For sure.
And I had, that was my bigger problem was, okay, cool, you cleared the air, but why you had to say it like that?
Mm-hmm. Wait, what happened? Because I missed this.
They basically, so say how me and you are talking is how the tweet was.
Let me pull it up.
This is your official statement that you were not the one, and it's like, don't come for us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not the time for that. That's funny when we're comparing burgers and, those little riffs are going on. This wasn't the time for that.
I don't see it.
So they did their tweets. It started with, our voice would be nothing without the Black culture right now. A lot of people are hurting because of blatant racism against Black people. Their voices need to be heard, period. And then they did Black Lives Matter. And then it just kept going. We're putting our money where our mouth is. And they were talking about where they were donating to. And then they just kept going and kept going and kept going. And then the final one, they go, we never have and never will contribute to a presidential campaign. For the record, our CEO has always kept that same energy too. Facts. Which is like how we.
That's what it was. I couldn't remember what it was, but I remember reading it like, okay, wait, I didn't need that part. I didn't need that part.
They got it spicy.
I don't believe that because I specifically read that their CEO donated, and he's also the CEO of these other companies.
So he's not. So KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut are Yum brands. So they do have one CEO, and they've not cleared the air. So it's very clear that their CEO did donate to the campaign. Wendy's is separate from them. And I only know that because my mom worked for Yum Brands for years. So I had been canceled all of them anyway.
You know what? At one point, I thought Panera was in that little cluster as well. So I'm like, well, Panera won't get my money. Taco Bell never got my money. But that Panera tweeted me and they were like, you have been misinformed. Yeah. We have never donated to a presidential campaing.
Hold on. I was going to say there was some information like Panera and I think it was Popeyes was looped in. And then they basically were like, yo.
I read Popeyes too. Is that not accurate?
It was actually Chick-fil-A. It was Chick-fil-A. It wasn't Popeye.
It's Chick-fil-A. I do know that.
But to be honest with you, I was telling a friend about this, and I'm like, I think, you see this, and these are places that you support, and it is annoying to know that, I supported a brand that gave to someone who I may not support. Right. However, you really jump down that rabbit hole, which I don't think any of us really, truly want to do. It's not just fast food restaurants. It's where we work. It's where we sleep. It's where we play. It's where we go for our entertainment. So it's kind of like, don't like it, say it's not cool or whatever, but like it's impossible to boycott every place that has supported President Trump. It's just it's impossible.
So this is Panera's.
Hi, Mina. But see, that was worded very well.
And then someone said, I heard they donated too. I don't know. I'm about to not eat none of y'all. Somebody lying.
To Dex's point, unfortunately, even, yes, we have these companies that are a company, but then you have these individual franchises. So it is really, at the end of the day, going to be impossible because one franchise owner of Chick-fil-A could do one thing where Chick-fil-A corporate is doing another thing. So it is very hard. But again, when you have companies that are very blatant in their stance, it's a little different. Yeah. Like you see a company like Ben & Jerry's that didn't sugarcoat it. They didn't make it short. They didn't make it sweet. They were like, we need to end white supremacy, period. Right. And then you have other companies who are, because they're worried about their franchise owners and these different things that are kind of like tiptoeing around it.
You know what? I feel like I'm starting to question who is saying it just to say it and who's really serious about it.
Girl.
That's what happens when everybody's clamoring for other people's opinions on stuff where it's like they could be telling us anything just to, okay.
Shut us up. Yep.
That's it. So it's like the way I look at it is the people that are speaking up, they have to be about action as well. And I don't know how they plan on, contributing to our community, but those are the things that I'm looking forward to seeing, not just a post online or something.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, you're right.
Ben & Jerry's, they dropped the fire video, and I believe it.
Oh, I didn't see the video.
All right, listen, it's fire.
I gotta go see
we need some action, boss. That's all. We need some action.
They paid for a video editor.
It was good too. They got me.
They donated money too. Wendy's is even donating money as well. And
I saw that.
It's funny that you say that, Garnett, because again with WWE, like they threw out a statement, and that statement was like it was a good statement about how they support their black performers, so forth and so on. But like the CEO's wife works in President Trump's administration.
Exactly. I was going to say they are big Trump supporters. We already know.
How does that work exactly? Yeah, like it's always these conflicts of interest that come about, and then there's so many of these places that are putting this stuff out there, and there are no black people working there. Like when you look at the top, there's no black people there, so it's kind of crazy.
You know what, though? I really like your point, Garnett, about action, because I really wanted to make sure that I brought that up at some point, because now is a time for action, and people that are pessimistic are really getting under my skin, because you don't change the world by thinking it's not going to change.
Right.
You have to actually believe that your actions can make an impact. Whatever those actions are. I also don't believe in shaming people for doing or not doing certain things. However, people want to be activists in their own lives is up to them. Or if you don't want to be an activist, you don't have to do that. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? If you just want to have these simple, very difficult conversations about race, that's enough. Just have the conversation. But like, I really want to see action, and I want people who don't believe that this can be different to just not say anything. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was in a dark place when this all happened, because we've been down this road, and obviously I'm not black, so I can't pretend and sit here and say that I've gone through all the things that people are talking about. I have gone through some, being a Latin woman, and I have experienced discrimination in many ways. And, discrimination doesn't come just from color. It comes from class. It comes from money. I've felt discrimination because I came from a poor neighborhood and things like that. So I felt it in my own way, but I've always wanted to do something to make it better. I've always felt like if I did one thing and everybody did one thing, we could change the world. We could, I campaigned for Barack Obama. I believed that we could have a black president. I believe that. That's why I would go to Reading, PA and campaign for him, because I believe that. I've marched for Trayvon Martin. I participated in the protest on Saturday for George Floyd. I am that person. So I was in a really dark place, but then when they they charged all the officers, I got that hope back, you know? And when like you, Dex, when I started to see the looting and kind of some of the scarier parts of people being angry, I started to get sad. Just watching police treat people that are peacefully protesting unjustly because they're in this, they're rioting, they're stealing. Everybody's not in that place. Yeah. Some people just want to protest peacefully, but because they're coming in it with that energy, they're treating these people unjustly. And that, I was crying like every other day. It was crazy. That's why I couldn't even do the podcast. Because I'm like, are we really living in this world? But then I started to see more of the peaceful protests, and that started to give me encouragement, and then when they charged all the officers, I started to feel better. So it's been like crazy, but
it's up and down every day.
It's this long thing I say just to say, do one thing, just one thing, whether it be vote or protest, sign a petition, donate to an organization. I read volunteer. I read this article that said that the New York senator was saying that he has never had so many people reach out to him in one day. Like, these are the things that matter. And I feel like if we keep putting our foot on the gas, there's going to be a change.
Has to be, yeah.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Do you guys believe that?
I do believe it, but it's what you were saying, though. There is a lot of pessimism. And, like, I have a little bit of it, which I hate to say out loud, but like you said, we've been down this road before, and we've seen officers get charged, and then we don't see a conviction. I do think this situation could be different just because people are not playing this time around. Like, they are literally destroying neighborhoods that they live in. Not that I'm saying that's okay, but, like, you have to be really fed up to burn your own house down. You have to be. Like, and people are saying, like, well, this is where your grandmom goes to shop, so forth and so on. But imagine how fed up you have to be to burn the shop that's in your neighborhood, to loot the shop that's in your neighborhood. I know people are saying it's anger, and it is anger. And I know people are saying, like, they're just trying to take advantage, take it, whatever. But that is completely people being fed up. Like, the roof is, like, blown off. Also, I don't really understand what's uncomfortable about having a conversation about race. I keep hearing this narrative. There's two narratives that I'm hearing that they don't sit well with me. One, when people say it's uncomfortable to have a conversation about race, I don't really understand what's uncomfortable about it. And two, when people who are not Black say, I don't understand, I stand with you, but I don't understand. I'm telling you, like, yeah, you don't feel it. You might not feel what I'm feeling or what I'm going through, but I'm telling you, like, exactly what I'm feeling. So, like, if you don't understand, you don't want to understand.
Right.
Well, I think it's this. I think it's like, okay, if I tell you if you touch the fire, it's gonna burn, right?
Yes.
You're gonna say, okay, it's gonna burn, but you don't know how bad. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how it's gonna feel.
Right.
But I understand what you're saying.
Right.
I can empathize.
Right. Yeah. So there's an empathy, but the thing, I think what some people just are trying to say is, I don't know how much it burns because I haven't felt the fire.
That's a cop out. Like, it's just some stuff. Like, I wasn't there when they were sicking dogs on Dr. King and hosing them down with fire hydrants, but I know how that feels. Like, you don't have to experience something to truly, like, feel it. I just hate hearing that. And then you start to have these conversations and people get to crying. Like, you're not allowed to cry. I think it's so disrespectful to have a conversation with a Black person about race and cry. Like, I just think that is just super disrespectful.
Oh, Dex is
Wait, who cried?
And start the conversation with somebody who's not Black. I guarantee you they'll start to cry about it.
I still gonna have an attitude if they start crying. I'm sorry.
It's so insulting to me.
Well, I think because I've experienced discrimination, I can identify, right? But I don't think any of us know what it's like to have that absolute privilege, you know? Mm-hmm. So when you have that privilege, there's some things that you just cannot understand. It doesn't matter how many times and this is just my opinion. It doesn't matter how many times I tell you, I try to make you understand. I try to show you examples. Like, some people need to learn through action, you know? And it's like, there's some people that I know that I've tried to have conversations with them, and it's like talking to a brick wall.
I want to know.
you know, and it's like, bro, I'm talking to the wall. Are you listening to me?
But
and
this is why I don't do the conversations. I can't do it.
I was just about to say, I don't do it. Stop myself. Like, I'm not going to take my energy with somebody who truly is not willing to have a true conversation. I got to preserve myself. I'm not going to take myself there if you're not even open to the conversation. It is not worth my energy and my space. I don't need to do it anymore. I used to do it because, you get so passionate about it. You're trying to no, I need to explain. But if that person is not there, they're never going to be there. They're just not, and there's nothing you can do.
Right. Well, it comes down to how you were raised, what your background is. All of that influences how we see the world. So if you are in a situation where you have absolute privilege, where it's like you've never seen anybody treated differently, you've never seen an injustice. I remember when I was growing up, because my mother didn't speak English that well, she was treated a certain way. I remember feeling that as a kid. Like, why are you treating her like this? Okay, her English is not that good. You don't got to be an asshole about it.
Right.
So it's like we all experience different things in our lives, and according to what you've experienced, and that obviously goes into what kind of neighborhood you're in, who you're talking to, what your educational background is, what, how much money you have, all of that, it goes into our experiences. People are going to interpret things differently, and it might be one of the reasons why they can't understand, because they've never seen it.
But Mina, I can speak for Garnett here. Neither one of us have ever had a menstrual cycle. Not once. We've never had a menstrual cycle. And you can tell me, you and Shana can tell me how you guys feel when you have these situations. You can explain it to us, and we'll get it. We'll understand exactly where you guys are coming from.
But you've never felt it, Dexter.
I never have to feel it to understand.
He's saying he just wants the understanding. Like, you don't have to know exactly how it internally feels, but he doesn't understand how you just can't understand it.
I would sound crazy saying I don't get where you're coming from. I don't get it. Why y'all be mad? What you mad about? I don't. No,
I understand. Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, there has to be an understanding, but there's a line between understanding and then identifying. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So some people cannot identify when they have not been through these experiences. So that's why sometimes, we're starting to see who can identify. Drew Brees can't identify.
No, not just who can't. Again, who is unwilling to.
Drew Brees, after all of this, he still said what he said. He's still worried about that flag. Nobody is talking about the flag. They're talking about Colin Kaepernick kneeling in protest to police brutality. That is the main subject. So that's what I'm saying, Dex.
But he did it. So I guess he understood when he physically did it. Like, he got on his knee and kneeled in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick. So, like, why did you do it if you don't understand? If you don't get it, you don't. Right. You did it. He did it.
Right. So that's what I'm talking about. I think some people just cannot identify, and I think that's the difference.
Listen, that's his president. He tried. That was it. Look, they done pulled up all the pictures.
Right.
They've been coming for him all day. And that's my other thing is, I actually rather you not say anything than to say something, and then now you want to give us this pacified, I missed the mark, because that's a cop out. I missed the mark. You said what you said. You know what you were saying. You know why you were saying it. Right. So I'd rather you be silent. Like, your silence would just be easier than to deal with you missed the mark. That's a cop out.
Right.
I think also, with as much pressure as we are putting on people, I'm not going to say us, the people that are on this podcast, but just society, putting on people to choose a side, man, it's probably really easy to make a misstep or misword something, because the people that are jumping off of the porch to say that, and maybe they're unwilling to choose a side, society is forcing them to choose a side. So one way or another, you're going to offend somebody. And
that's true.
It's kind of like Drew Brees may be an example of it, because, on in one picture, he's with Colin Kaepernick, and then just in a tweet or in an interview, it's like, he jumped out and he did this, and who knows what might have caused that to pressure him to choose that side that day. Maybe he got backlash from the first time when he kneeled with Colin Kaepernick. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but then I just rather you not say anything. You chose to do that interview. You knew what was going to be asked of you. And I do agree, if you're uncomfortable with it, even though we're saying, yes, some people's silence is deafening, I do think that some people are silent because they don't want to say the wrong thing. Yeah. And I even get that. I get that. So I would prefer, when you already know, if you get called for an interview right now, you know what you're going to be asked, especially as an athlete. So you have to be very clear and stand firm in whatever it is that you said. You can't backtrack at that point. You got to be like, no, I said this, and this is what I believe. Exactly. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but this is where I stand, because I knew they were going to ask me that going into the interview.
And now his locker room is all in turmoil.
Malcolm Jenkins got in that ass.
Ain't nobody going to be protecting him.
But that's what I said. But because to them, it's like, wow, like, you know, they probably dined with this guy, super cool. You know, Jupiter seems like a cool cat. It seems like he was for the flag, and then boom, when it's time to choose a side, you find out the person that you've been, you know, rooting for and riding with, and you know that's your ace in the hole, and it's like, damn, like.
And just to touch on his statement, what I don't want people to do is make this about the flag or the anthem, because it's you know, and that's kind of where obviously people got upset, like, because you can fall back and easy and say, oh, my grandfather's a vet, my niece is serving right now, my nephew's serving right now, like, you know what I mean, like, you can't fall back on that and make that your answer to where we are. Like, that's not an answer.
Exactly. You are not alone in that. I'm sorry.
Like, come on now. Like, oh, okay, now it's supposed to be different because your grandfather served. Oh,
as if people of color didn't serve with your grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said to me today, which was a person I didn't want to waste energy on, you just have to understand that I've worked hard all my life and I did this and I'm an essential worker. And I said, your privilege and your bias, you claim you're not racist. Let's just talk about your privilege and your bias. You started off by differentiating yourself from a race because you said you're a hard worker and you were an essential worker in a crisis. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sure when you go to the hospital, there's probably a black doctor there, a black nurse, a Latino doctor, like, your privilege and your bias in this statement to say that you are the only race. I was like, this country was born on the backs of slaves and their hard work. So so that's my other issue right now with people that's like, oh, I'm not racist, but blah, 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 blah.
Can never be a but after I'm not racist.
Right.
That's
so,
a fact.
Right. So are you guys cutting people off in your life right now? Like, is this an evaluation period?
Absolutely not. I have podcasts. I'm not cutting nobody off. I have podcasts. I have things that I put out there that I want people to listen to and support. I would be a fool to cut off anybody who could be a potential supporter. Now, I don't have to fool with you. We're not going to go out to dinner or nothing like that, and I see who you are. But I'm never one of those people to delete somebody or be like, if you don't like what I have to say, delete me now. Don't delete me, because I want y'all to. I need my likes on my pictures. I need my shares of my stuff. Don't delete
my
me.
engagement.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. I would say, fortunately, just on a personal tip, there's nobody that I know of that I've had to even really had that deep. There were probably people when this president was elected that I might have had to go through some evaluations. And again, it's not because of this president and who he is. It was more about stuff they started saying that, again, made me see, like, wait a minute. This is a little tad to the racist side and doesn't have anything to do with just this president as a man. So there were some people that, like, and again, it's so funny because it's Facebook, but I had to evaluate on Facebook, like, nah, like, I'm going to keep it real. There was this one guy that wanted to take me out on a date. I knew him from elementary school, and he was a white guy, and that's not really my thing, but again, I don't discriminate. So I was just like, I don't know, let me look into it. And I go to his page, and I'm like looking, and again, it's not just because you voted for Trump. Again, it's more the rhetoric that you're reposting that he has said, and those things that were like I started feeling like, am I about to be set up? Is this going to be a Law and Order episode? And and then he inboxed me and said, I can tell you're probably hesitant, and it's probably because of my page. I said, well, that's the thing, is that's just not your page. That is who you are. Absolutely. So that would be I don't understand how we could even have, again, relationships agree to disagree and opposites are going to attract. But there are some common ground things that, you know, we would need to have in common. And the things that you said and the bigotry that you were willing to post as a business owner, that definitely gives me a lot of pause. So, you know, I went through that before, but I luckily have not had to go through that, like on a personal tip in this and where we are right now.
Yeah, I haven't had to cut anybody off, but I have had some conversations about race, you know, in the past couple of days where it's like, you know, this is a human thing. You know, this isn't this only affects Black people. Like, you have to understand this is a trickle down effect. And it's like, if one person can be treated this way, others can be treated this way. You know, I have family members, they're dark skinned. They're Spanish, but you might think they're Black if they're walking down the street. This could affect people in my life. You know, this affects us all. So it's like, it's that conversation of, this isn't a Black thing. This is something we all need to be concerned about. We all need to be angry. Like, bigger than that, we have a president who's supposed to be the leader of the free world, who is not allowing people to freely protest. You know, like, do you know how that is so dangerous? Like, our country was built on these principles, you know, that this guy is violating. Like, as a journalist, as a, you know, as a person who has that in my blood, like, we can't allow this man and the people that think like him to infringe upon what our rights are as people. You know, people have the right to protest, period. You may not like how people are protesting. I don't like that people are looting. I don't think people should be looting, you know, but this is how people are dealing with their frustrations. Like, you know, you have to pay attention to that. And you have to pay attention to people trying to stop that freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And when it's all said and done, to piggyback off what you just said, Mina, about the looting and, you know, just have people have an understanding for that. I'm pretty sure, you know, there were people a part of Dr. Martin Luther King's camp and marches that they weren't all doing the right thing. We just didn't have Instagram.
Right.
But so, you know, when you look at these kids that maybe stealing sneakers or doing this or doing that, when the story is all said and done in 5-10 years from now, and the story is written, when you're reading it, they are going to be looked at as revolutionaries.
Because they stole the apple, they robbed the apple store?
I'm just saying.
No, I understand what you're saying. And whether we like it or not, you are right.
Yep. So,
because there have been peaceful protests forever. Like, remember when Donald Trump first got elected, there was this big women's march. It was covered all the media outlets. But what did that do? He was still in office. He was still.
He laughed. He tweeted about it.
We've seen protests forever, and then this is one of the first time I've seen, like, people just go nuts, and, like, not just in the city or the state that it happened in, but I mean across America. I think for me, it was like, I wanted these cops to be arrested. I wanted them to be charged, and I do still want those charges to stick. But it's just like going out there and protesting and tweeting and all this stuff like that. That doesn't really get the attention. When they start to run in these stores, tearing up Beverly Hills, lighting places on fire, these monuments and stuff like that, things are changing. Like, look in Philadelphia, that Frank Griffin statue.
I was just about to say that. People have been asking for that to be down for years. For years, people have signed petitions. People have asked, and it took for the protest, riot, and looting for that statue to finally come down. People have been asking for years since it got up. Like, I've seen them all. People send me the petitions. Sign this, sign this. It took all of that action, all of that to cause the action.
I just feel bad, like, particularly in Philly, you know, the one ShopRite owner, like 3 of his ShopRites are like, there's nothing there. Yeah. You know, so, like, as a business owner, I feel bad for those people, because how do you even rebuild? You know,
guess what? They're opening this weekend. They're reopening.
All of them? Where are they going to get the supplies from?
They posted it today, and they said they've all the help because they want to give back to the community. They're opening. One is opening tomorrow, and the other 2 on Sunday.
Yeah, but it's like those owners that I feel bad for with the looting, you know. It's like, and then think about insurance right now. You think insurance companies are going to be, you know, giving people money for their claims? Like
they don't have a choice.
But this, when you have 1,000 companies coming after you, like
Mina, who wants to open up a business that then is going to apply for insurance in like a month. Yo, your insurance is about to be expensive.
Yeah, that'll be crazy. But this is like car insurance. If everybody in the United States had a car accident at the same time, we all put a claim in, we shouldn't have any issues because we've been paying our insurance month by month. So like y'all had the money, we've paid for this already. Run it back. Like I
don't me my money.
Yeah, I do feel bad for people who will, like Shana said, try to apply in the future because I mean it was already hard for people. Now it's impossible. So.
Yeah, I mean, and I had a story. We were on a Bible study, and my pastor was talking about a story of an owner who talked about his insurance, and that's what he said. He said, "I'm not hurting right now. I'm drinking champagne." He said, "If anything, they've helped me. I wouldn't have made the money that I'm about to make off of my insurance due to the coronavirus crisis and everything going on." So, unfortunately, that's like the other side that, you know, again, and I get people are angry and they're frustrated and they've done it. But that's the other side is like not technically hurting these folks. It does hurt our communities more than it hurts those business owners. And it might hurt the small business owners who don't have, you know, $2 million in insurance and all of those things because they're not a big box business. It's going to hurt them more than anything.
Yeah, and those are the people I do have sympathy for.
Right.
You know, for the small businesses, whether they be, you know, Black, white, Asian, or whatever, because, you know, they aren't multi-million or billion-dollar corporations, but, you know, I mean, at the same time with what's going on, man, I'm happy to see that people are giving back and helping some of the people that they did at least hurt in the process of proving their point. So, you know, shout out to the people that's helping the people, you know, clean up and open up stores again.
And Mina was out there. I saw you, Mina. I saw you.
I was so at the protest on Saturday. It started off like really good, and you know I felt all good inside. I'm like, look, y'all, we advocating for change. Like we gonna do this. This is gonna be different. So I'm at like the art museum, feeling all fuzzy and like, oh my god. And you know I've been to a lot of protests. I think not a lot. I've only been to 3, but that's a lot compared to some other people.
Right.
And like I felt like this was different because the demographic of people that were there was different. You know, it was like all kinds of people, white, black, you know, obviously me, my Spanish ass. You know, it was like it looked different. So it made me feel like, wow, there's other people that really care about this issue outside of black people, which means when people that are not black start caring, you know that you're getting more people on your side. The more people that you have on your side, the more change that you can affect. Yeah. So it's like I felt really good, but then when I got to the Fridays on the Parkway and I seen somebody spray paint the Fridays, I was like, uh-oh. I've never been to a protest where that, like, I saw that, right?
They got turned up.
Right. So this was like the beginning of the turntness, right? So we still walking and I'm doing my little video. Look, y'all, it's peaceful. Mind you, this is coming off of the 2 days that they had in Minneapolis. So I went on Saturday. This is like the 3rd day, you know, that they so it's, you know, so I'm like, oh, we about to have a peaceful one. Child, when we got to that Vine in Broad and we stopped, it was like a mass chaos. I've never seen anything like that. I was legitimately scared, because I was stuck in the middle and like people were spray painting and they had climbed up on the cars and somehow I ended up right next to the police, you know, the police line. And then the car, somebody blew up a car and now it's burning, the police car. And I'm there like, why am I here? Like front and center. I ended up right there, right next to the police car. So it's like, it was scary. Yeah.
I saw the car on fire. I saw the car on fire on TV. It was around 2:00. I said, there's a car on fire. lock your stores up tonight. It's going to be bad.
It was bad. And I'm over here thinking it's a peaceful protest, and then all of a sudden it went left, and it happened in minutes. I've never seen nothing like that.
I was gonna say I was watching your stories back.
I was like,
it's like
literally,
you on Instagram. She's like, it's peaceful. We here. Then she's like, I hear you say, The next story, you were like, oh, I'm about to leave. It's a car on fire.
Yo, but I got stuck in the crowd, right? So now, and then right next to me, some white guy thought it was a good idea to jump over the police van. Why would you try to jump over the police van?
Wait. How did he jump over the police van?
He tried it to jump over the van, and I'm like, why would you do that? Then they started hitting him in front of me. I was like, yo, I've never seen that happen to me in that chronological order ever in life. I was scared, and then I couldn't leave because they box you in. So what they do is the police kind of box you in so you can't get out, right? But it's like, I'm scared. I'm trying to get out. Y'all box me in. Where am I supposed to go? So now I'm stuck in the middle, and it's all crazy. They throwing stuff at the police, and I was trying to leave. I could not leave, and I had to walk all the way back and around. And then when I was going home, checking my Twitter, I noticed that down the block, I had just passed City Hall. It was peaceful. Down the block, they was acting up. They was defacing Frank Rizzo. They was blowing up police cars over there. It was
look what they got them.
Right.
It's gone finally.
So, I was there to witness it. So it was scary because you think that, God forbid someone pushes me by mistake and I get pushed into the police officer. Now I'm being hit with a bat. I didn't even do nothing to you. I was here trying to peacefully protest. I just happened to be like pushed into you. Now you gonna hit me with a bat because you defensive.
Now I was gonna ask you this, Mina. I'm sorry, and I didn't want to say this because again, I'm not saying that all cops are bad. I know many police officers. I don't know many bad ones, but I know many police officers. Seeing that you were there, and I know two of my girlfriends were there, they stated that like in some of the instances, and again, maybe it was because they were boxing you in, where they kind of felt like the agitation was coming from the police side a little bit, causing people to kind of get more in an uproar. And I just wanted to see, because I wasn't out there, so I just wanted to see how you felt or saw about it.
So I did think that them coming in the way that they came in does add to like the tension in the air, but I think their mentality is we're going into war. Like that's how they came. Like that's right. That's how they came in. So even when, and it literally unfolds in my video. If y'all watch my video on Instagram, I literally just happened to be filming, and then all of a sudden all this stuff happened. So, and I just happened to be next to the police line, and I'm literally like looking around, and I'm like, oh, I'm stuck here. Like I'm surrounded by people. I'm stuck. And then they came in single file, like they were marching in the JROTC, and they're like, dun, 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 dun. And there's like 35 of them. And then they come in and form this line and block you off. And then the crowd got, a significantly smaller. And now you're putting all these, first of all, I'm not trying to get corona. So it's like, I'm not trying to be around all these people. So why are you boxing me in where I can't even move now? So now I'm agitated because I'm like, okay, you boxing me in. And it adds to the tension. It does. They come in really hostile, and if you want to think about the other side, I get it. There's a crowd of people. You've seen what's happening in the news. You think that this is going to be similar. So you come in with this already defensiveness. But as someone who was there peacefully, it was scary to have them come in. And I felt like they did add like tension to the protest. I think they need to devise a better way of trying to disperse the protest instead of trying to box people in. They did this on one of the major highways in Philly, the Vine Street Expressway on 676. The people were on the highway, and I get it. It's rush hour. You're stopping traffic. I'm sorry, the protest is inconvenient, but hello, that's what a protest is. So it's like, instead of them blocking these people off, why not try to kind of like steer them into another direction? What they did was they blocked them off. So now you can't go nowhere because the police lines are on both sides. And then you gas these people? That's a crime.
No, this is we are seeing firsthand how they're trained. This is what they're trained to
right.
do. Yeah. So, you said the word war. I thought that was interesting because every time one of the guys, get into the car with their partners and stuff like that, they go to war that day. They go to war every day. At least that's what they tell themselves. Hey, you got my back, I got your back no matter what happens. And they apply that kind of pressure outside on a day-to-day where it's two cars on one person. Sometimes, you drive by some people getting pulled over. It's 4 cars on one person. And, we're just riding past. You don't know what the guy could have did. He could have did absolutely nothing. But look at the pressure and the agitation that they're doing to try to cause a situation. So even to go back, I hate to still touch on this, but like I said, I won't say the so-called looting or the burning is good, but I understand it. And sometimes you need to meet brute force with brute force in order to get some understanding. So it's like, I feel like that's what's going on right now, just with the frustration and everything and the looting. This is to give people the realization, even peaceful protests, and the way this is how people of color or the people that's being oppressed, this is how we feel in these situations. Just a regular pullover, daily, routine stop.
You coming in real aggressive.
Like that, yes.
So now I'm coming to you aggressive.
Feels like that moment. It feels like that burning car. It feels like that burning building. It feels like throwing bottles. All in that moment. That's how a lot of us feel on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Well, I think they're trying to contain it, but my whole thing is in containing it, you're not letting people get out of it. So now we're all in this small little area, and now I feel I'm getting claustrophobic. Like, my friend was calling me like, hey, and I'm like, look, I'm really scared. They just blew up this police car right next to me. And I'm like, I can't even leave. Like, I can't even get out of here. And I want to.
With that being said, where are people getting these explosives? Because, like, in every protest, I see police cars, like, literally on fire. Like,
where they're getting it from.
Where? And then they blowing up ATM machines. How are y'all doing this? Like, where?
So they had a special on the ATM machines today. And they've actually traced some of the dynamite back to one
guy.
Yes. Because, and I know you're in Philly, Dex, like here in Philly, and I'm more northwest in the city. So I don't, hear it as much as South Philly and North Philly and Center City. But Monday and Tuesday in particular, Tuesday I just had to close my window. Again, I like the little air to come in because I could not sleep because of the constant booms. Like, again, like we in Baghdad somewhere, like all night, it's like boom, couple minutes, boom, boom, boom. And then when I realized that that's what they were doing, but when they actually showed the videos of how they do it, and I don't want to laugh, but it is like, I can't even believe y'all are risking that for $2,000. Like when you see the way that they have to, because it is literally a stick of dynamite, like the cartoon dynamite. Yeah. And I'm like, yo, you just stuck it in there. Like, what's going on? And then ran out the store.
Yo, if you watch my video, there's actually one on the floor.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that in your video.
Yeah, and the cop picked it up or something. I don't know what he did with it, but
where did you get this from?
I don't. And then there's a video, and then he picked it up and then just let it go immediately. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where there's somebody making ghetto fucking dynamite. Like they're literally Googling how to make dynamite and making it and selling it.
No, you see that one man, they're like bringing him in on charges. He's been selling it to a ton of people in Philly, and I guess everybody talk in today's social media where you get that dynamite from,
right?
But because that's what I'm like, these are like not what even in my mind when I heard the blowing up, I don't think it was what I thought it really was until I saw it on the news.
I thought hammers. Yesterday there was one that's like walking distance from my apartment that they blew up, and like I heard it, like I felt it, like I knew something was happening, but I had no idea what it was. The Drexel Hill one. And then I saw the video, and I'm like, damn, he really used this stick of dynamite to stick in that thing and to get $20 out of it. This is crazy.
I wonder how many people attempted that and got empty ATMs.
They said there were some. They said there were quite a few that they didn't get anything, or the money blew up as they were blowing it up.
I ended up going to. I went to Royal Farms the other day, and they had nothing in their ATM machine. That's why.
I was gonna say after the first couple, I would have like cleared it. That's what I don't understand. Like,
I think that like some of those private ones, like, and which is a lot of the ones they're going after. Like after they got that forklift and took the Wells Fargo one, again, not funny, but I just can't believe that happened. A lot of the bigger banks and like you said, the Royal Farms, like those Wawas, they did have them come in and take your money out. But the ones that they're hitting up now, and they were like showing on the news, are a lot like outside Chubby Steaks and in the Chinese stores. So a lot of those small businesses, I get, it's just different when they have those private ATM kind of services. And now just trying to get those people out to service all these ATMs and get the money out.
And this one guy,
we got more left to blow up at this point.
This one guy blew himself up, like he died.
That's what I'm saying, because it's so dangerous.
Like
it's
what?
Super dangerous.
I don't know, y'all.
They showed the one yesterday. They came in, told the lady like, yo, come out. Like, and she just walks out. And then he comes back in, sticks it in, it's blowing up. He ran out. I'm like, what in the world?
Let me ask y'all. So y'all, if y'all see somebody doing that, are you gonna step in
and do what? Stop?
And be like, no, don't do that.
What is stick of dynamite?
Dexter!
If a person has a stick of dynamite in their hand and they're willing to
you pack it too with that stick of dynamite.
You're not gonna be like, yo, don't do that. That's wrong.
I'm running. I'll be like, don't do that. That's wrong. I guess I'm running away. Like
you're watching the commission of a crime, Dexter.
I ain't got nothing to do with it.
I mean, honestly, they one up the people from the movie Barbershop. They just stole it and tried to crowbar it.
Yeah, they did. They did. You're right.
But I've seen people doing that too. I've seen people physically on videos and stuff carrying ATM machines back to their homes to try to open them up. Like
that's terrible.
I saw one guy try to get on the bus with an ATM.
I did that. That actually happened right before the riot. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you never seen that video? It was in Jersey too, I think. It was like a New Jersey Transit bus he tried to get on. And the worst part about that video is the bus driver actually held the door open, waited for him to push that ATM over, and then closed it once he got.
Because the bus driver was like, I need to see this. I need to see this. This is what we're doing right now.
Here with an ATM machine.
I missed that.
I did see somebody pushing the washer and dryer down the street too. I don't even know how he had the strength to push both of them down the street, because we all know washer and dryers are heavy.
You know, when that stuff was happening, that's when I started to get sad, because I'm like, okay, these protests are going left, and I was like, yeah, I just kind of shut off. You know, like I didn't want to deal, because, you know, some of it is funny, like you watching people literally like stealing stuff, but a lot, I felt sad sometimes. Like
I saw the kids. I saw a kid running out of the liquor store down the street from me, and that situation to me, it just reaffirmed what I said. Like, these people are taking advantage of an opportunity. They don't have anything. They've probably been displaced or struggling because of the coronavirus, or maybe even before that. So, like, there's a news camera and a reporter standing there with a camera facing the store that you're running into, but these people don't care, because, like, what do they have to lose? They probably have no job. Probably didn't have a job before that, and it's difficult to look at, but it's also difficult to think about the reality of that too. Yeah. And then when I saw kids running out with bottles, it's just like,
if anything, the 52nd Street part for Philly is what, like, you know, like Garnett was saying, what really got me, because again, it's so many small businesses. Like, I know Foot Locker is the big business, but there's so many, like the balloon guy, who I'm sure probably lets your mom go. Like, some of those businesses, again, unfortunately, they have very minimal insurance, and they just might not be able to rebuild. And again, you have age and all these other things going. They already been hurting because they haven't been open because of the coronavirus. So that was what made me more sad just about 52nd Street in particular. It was like, you know, there was you go to Rite Aid, but don't go to, you know, the Jamaican spot where, you know, these are immigrants that have built this business up that give back to y'all, you know, when you don't have it. That was the part that really made me sad out of all of it.
Yeah, but you know what makes me angry about that? People take these and they start shifting the narrative, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of saying, there's a man that lost his life and should have not lost his life, they take, well, look, they looting, they stealing. So it's like, that's what makes me sad, in that I know people are going to change the narrative and try to diminish what's happening here.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, it's sad. Like, you worried about this, but this man lost his life.
I think that happened this time around, though. I feel like that people definitely tried to shift the narrative, but I think we didn't allow it. Like, we didn't let up off of it. I think the regular protest did not stop. And then people really started saying, what's more important, this man's life or this? Then we start to say, like, well, let's go back to the root of the problem. There's 4 officers who killed a man, and only one of them was arrested. If you would, honestly, even right now, we have the National Guard outside. They wouldn't have to be here if 4 officers were arrested after they killed the man. And you go right back to that, it kind of wipes away any other narrative you want to put out there.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing I wanted to touch on what you said, Garnett, was, you know, me and the police were forcing the frustration. And I'll say this again, as a woman, as a Black woman, the one thing that I kept having conversations with a lot of Black men is, we don't know what it feels like to be y'all. Because when I get stopped, and there are definitely times I've been racial profiled, but for you guys, there is a different level that, your own personal anxiety and just that some of these police are meeting you with. So I do feel like, you know, again, with that anger and the frustration, to your point, it's coming out in that. I will never forget, and me and Mina were talking about it on Memorial Day when I was sitting there coming from a rehearsal with 2 Black men. And I knew I was stopped for no reason. I knew I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything. So when we got stopped, I'm Shana, like, tell me why I got. And the dudes are like, yo, you got shit. They already like this. I'm like, what you got your hands up for it? Because I don't understand that, because that's not even as a Black woman, it's not my reality. That doesn't happen to me every single time I get stopped. I don't have to face that fear. So I'm more like, what? Why? And they're like, Shana, you got to chill. You gonna get us? I'm like, I'm not gonna get us nothing. But it's a different reality for a lot of men. A lot of men.
Yeah, a lot.
You know, and that really makes me scared, because I had a difficult conversation with someone that I really care about, and sometimes he's very like forceful with his opinions, and he's very strong, you know. And he doesn't care who he pisses off or what he says, you know, because he believes in his heart that he is saying the right thing, which he is. But I had a conversation with him, and that, you know, this is me being honest, like, I'm worried about you, you know. I'm worried about you being like so like blunt about this stuff, and I'm worried about it coming to hurt you later on, you know, because people have their things on social media, right? And they say and express themselves in certain ways. Some people are expressing themselves one way, and other people are expressing themselves other ways. But it's like, you have to think, we're saying all these things on social media. We have to go to work, you know, and you have your coworkers that you have to work with every day, and they might not all be of color. So it's like, you know, not that you have to silence yourself for anybody, but like, with him, I was like, don't say something that's going to be so divisive. You know what I'm saying? Where you got to go and now work with these people. This might come and negatively impact you. I don't want you. I'm scared for you, you know? So it's like, Shana, to your point, it's like, you know, you're saying that you could never understand, and I could never understand what he goes through, but I'm scared for him. I worry about him. And he doesn't care. He's like, you don't need to be worried about me. I'm good. I'm going to do whatever I feel is right. But I am scared. I'm scared and I'm worried. How is this going to affect you? Are people going to treat you differently? Are they going to be mean to you? Are they going to I worry about that.
I do understand where you're coming from as far as that worry goes, but it's odd because I'm not like that. I don't do those things. I'm very quiet. I don't really say too much. I really don't put my opinion out about much at all. Like, I'll have conversations like this with friends and stuff, but then I still get the same treatment that he's going to get at work. Like, it doesn't, honestly, I don't really know if it matters that much. Like, he could say whatever he wants to say, and he's still going to get treated some type of way. I don't say anything, and we're probably going to get the exact same treatment, him and I. I know, I get what you're saying. Like maybe we should calm down a little bit just because you don't know how people are going to react to it. But then I've always been like that. I've always lived my life like that, where it's just like you don't know how people are going to react to certain things, and I still get treated the same way I see people who are more radical get treated. So and I get it, but it's difficult to defend sometimes.
In those situations, man, it's really it's not a thing of if you're doing the right thing or not, because I've seen situations where, just like Dex said, person did everything by the book, didn't say anything. But yet we still have that anxiety. We still have that fear. We still have that, like, somebody get pulled over and they know they didn't do nothing wrong. Their driver license is straight. Everything is all good. And it's still some fear and some doubt where, you know, they have a strong, beautiful black woman protecting them, so to speak, because they can't get away with that. Do you get what I'm saying? And, you know, even, you know, having someone speak up for them, they also realize that can get them in trouble too, because they know they not going to ask you to get out the car. They're going to ask them to get out the car. And now the more that, you know, you talk, not saying you per se, but now that the more the person talks, the more harm that they're going to do. They're going to try to look up warrants now, and they're going to try to catch them in the lies. Some even, you know, plant drugs in some cases, but
right. Like, I don't want you to be a target. Right.
Right.
And all of those moments are intense. So even, you know, Mina, your friend, I think he took kind of a fearless approach to it, even though it doesn't seem like it's going to, you know, work out well, just because you know him and his personality. He could be a hothead or this and that. But sometimes even the cops just need to know, I have a voice too. I have a voice too. I can speak up. I can defend myself. But that is the risk that we take getting in the car, or we take when we even have those high pressure situations with cops. It don't matter which way it's going to go. It matters if he wants to really do that or not, or if she wants to really do it or not. Like, that's just what it is, man.
Yeah, and I was just going to say that the other thing is, you know, we talk about the anger and the fear and anxiety of the black man. It does happen for us women too. You know, again, I've been in situations, and I think I posted about it, where my friend was in a situation and he got stopped and the phone just dropped. But I don't know that the phone just dropped. I just know what I hear, and it just sounds like chaos. So immediately, because of what the world that we live in, I'm thinking he's dead. They killed him, because that's all I hear is the shuffling, and I am like screaming, crying, because that's where we are as a society, that I can't think, oh, the phone just dropped. I can't think it's something as simple as that. I literally was on edge for hours until he called me, and he said he told the cops, like, I have to call her because I know what she thinks. He was like, I already knew, like, I know what she thinks happened. And when he called me, I was just crying. And that's like, that again, to your point of the anxiety of not wanting this man to go to work or job or whatever. Like, we all are living, which is why we are here, with this large amount of anxiety and anger and fear. And it is now at a point where the lid is off. The lid is off, and everybody's tired, can't take it no more.
I know. I be worried. And he's like, I'm with God. You don't got to be worried about me. I am worried. You know, I get worried. You know, I don't, you know, I was talking to somebody, and so I'm not going to put the person's business out there, but he had welcomed people that were in the protest to his place of business. So I went. And I was like, I think it's super commendable that you're helping people who were in the protest, whatever. He told me that other people in his, you know, in his realm, like what he does for his profession, they saw his post that went up to support people in the protest. And they're trying to make trouble for him. You know?
Shana disappeared.
Yeah, Shana. Damn, girl, what kind of service you got?
She should be back. Mine's acting up a little bit too, though.
You ain't disappear all the way, though.
Not yet.
So it's like, he told me that he's getting flack, you know? Sometimes people speak out, and, you know, my job is to speak out. So I think when I speak out, people are like, what, you know, that's what she does.
Expect it, yeah.
But there's some people that, you know, they might speak out all the time or not speak out all the time, but some people will get backlash. And it's not to say don't speak out. It's not to say don't protest or don't help protesters. But this is a harsh reality of now this man has issues with people that are in his profession because he offered some help to a protester. So they're internalizing that and saying, oh, you support these businesses. They're interpreting that as, oh, you support these businesses being looted, these businesses being torn down. How dare you support the protesters?
Right.
So it's like, it's a real thing that's happening, and I'm never one to stay silent, but some of these people that are a little bit more, what's the word? You use a great word, Garnett.
Which one?
Fearless, more like in your face. I do worry about those people.
Yeah. Nah, as you should. Man, to go off of what Shana was saying, welcome back, Shana, earlier, but it's like we're all in this together. Just as women, y'all having to deal with it on your own account, but for us as well, like carrying that burden, like almost like feeling like a mom when that person is away, like you're just
right.
You need to hear back from them so you can feel okay and get a nice rest. But it's just it's a crazy time right now. I just want everybody to try to be as safe as possible, safe as they can, and be who you are, because I think that'll get you a long way, and that'll get us and what we're trying to do a long way. You don't have to be frontline on everything if you can't provide frontline services. If that's not what you're there for, then don't do it. If you don't promise money that you can donate if you don't have it.
Right.
I'm just saying that may not be your expertise.
Right.
Leave that for the people that can do that and dish that out. So it's just about knowing our roles, stepping up, and for everybody to hold each other accountable on the actions that we do. So.
Yeah, and I like that because different people have different roles. When I was out there, I was trying to peacefully protest. When people started rioting, I wanted to subtract myself from that because I'm not built for that. I'm not. I was scared. I watched the police car burn next to me. I'm not built like that. I'm out. Like, no, you're not hitting me with a bat.
I think the funniest thing was you definitely said "uh-oh" on one of your videos. I my mom move on Saturday, mind you. So I'm like trying to catch up to my girlfriend's videos of Mina's, and I'm tapping, and Mina's like, "Yeah, we peaceful." Then I hear her go, "Uh-oh." Every video after that just started going downhill.
Out. I'm not built for that. I'm not climbing on the police car and spray paint. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm out. This is not why I came. And then I even did a post. Like, I'm not a rioter. If that's what you do, that's you. I'm not a rioter, Right. Listen, I have a lot of responsibilities. I can't end up in jail, So it's like, some people will go out there and they're doing what they do and they don't mind going to jail. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody has their limit. I was scared. So I wasn't going to be in there continuing and being locked up. I'm fucking scared. I'm leaving.
But the one thing to all your point about action and knowing where you are, I do love the fact, though, that some people who are speaking out and are in certain positions that, again, you do have to be careful what you say because of everyone's action and do what they can do. It is causing a reaction. Like, I know, for example, it was Clementon, New Jersey. There's a kindergarten teacher that posted several things on Facebook, and she said, "I am a racist." And somebody said, "But this says in your profile, you're a kindergarten teacher." And she said, "That has nothing to do with my profession." So she's now fired, and they had to release a statement. But, I'm just happy that, where people can come to action, they're not letting things just slide. Like, no, you're not going to be a kindergarten teacher and you walking around saying you're a racist and it's okay and it don't affect your job. Like, no, that's not going to happen. And I know it happened in the Norristown School District, too. The teacher, she didn't necessarily say I'm a racist, but her statements were divisive. And what it did was it took people to look kind of into her. And when they went to her boyfriend's page, he's a white supremacist.
Yeah.
So, now I appreciate people just like on this, like, no, this is not okay. This is not the day we're just going to keep letting things slide and keep letting them be. There were some students, I think, that were going into one, I think was Mizzou and another school, and they were making jokes about George Floyd and his death, and they put it on Snapchat, TikTok, one of those things, which I don't know why any of y'all do any of that. If you want something to last later,
but don't stop. But don't stop doing it.
But don't stop if you are a true racist. But and now her acceptance has been rescinded because I think she was on like a scholarship or something as well.
Yeah.
So it's just in the token where it's like it's good to see that there are actions actually happening because of things that people are doing, and they're not just being overlooked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my dog just came in here. How the hell?
Shana, see, that's what happened that day we was safe.
Yo, one day me and Shana were in here and the dog busted in here and tried to be a part of the podcast. So
Mina says, "Oh, she's not even jumping on you. You want to see? Let's just let." I was like, "No, get down."
So my dog is a killer dog. She bites people. She bites other dogs.
She had just bit somebody. She's about, "Let's just see." I was like, "No, let's not see." I couldn't even talk. I was like,
I should have had my dog out there at the protest with me. You would have protected me, right, Pumpkin?
I don't know why not. People had their babies out there.
You know what? How do you feel about that? Should people have their kids out at the protest?
Listen,
this one, no, because you saw how it turned. You see what happened in Minnesota. Like, it wasn't going to be peaceful. Like, right. That was kind of you just knew that it wasn't going to be peaceful. And I do think kids should see you doing your civic duty. Just as important as kids should see you voting, I think they should see you out there protesting and stuff. But if you know that these protests is more than likely going to get a little dangerous, keep the kids at home.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Garnett?
I was going to say kids and dogs are the only thing that can keep you safe out here. You better have a kid, better have a dog on you. That's it.
Listen, I needed it. So what do you want?
Well, that's also funny is, just having a conversation with kids. Like, talking to my niece and just trying to explain it to her, what's happening. Because, again, they are going to, as you said, people look back, they're revolutionaries. They are going to live this in their life. And I think for kids of a certain age, it's just about having the conversation in a way that they understand and they, it's clear, it's clear even because obviously we can't help it. We're all in the house. If I turn on CNN, even if she's playing with her Barbies or something, there's something that she's seeing, which I did realize the other day when the president was talking, her responses, she's feeding off of, again, going back to how things are learned, me and my sister. So just making sure that you have conversations with them, that they're aware of what's going on because you don't want to hide it from them.
What she said.
Oh, when he was on, she was like, when he said, first he said something like, "I like to thank God." She was like, "Oh, now he want to talk about God." She was like, "What are you trying to talk nice?" I don't know what he's talking about. And she was just making these little comments that made me realize, like, oh, God. We're not even going to talk about that.
That's what it was.
Right. Oh, okay. But, like, today, she saw, the protest going on after the memorial. And she was like, "Oh, those people are downtown." And, so we had to have a conversation about it. And I do think it's important for people with children to just explain what's going on because they're living through it, whether they're actually there or not, whether you let them see, CNN or social media or not, they are living through it and they do need to know.
I agree.
Yeah. And these are teachable moments. This is how you teach your children what they're going to see when they go out into the world. This is not just an adult thing. The kids see it in the classroom. They see the inequalities. I saw it. All our teachers were white. They treated us differently. We knew that. That was our very first bout with racism right there. Why are all our teachers white and they treat us a certain way? My teacher telling me that I'm going to go to college and get pregnant and drop out. That's some racist ass, stereotypical ass things. Right.
Your composure?
I was in high school. What am I to do?
I don't know. That's like
at least she gave you college.
That's crazy.
But I think it's good though to teach these kids because a lot of you guys have become teachers because of the coronavirus. So now you're able to put those skills to use.
Yes, this is part of our class. Last day of school is tomorrow.
All right, y'all. Any last thoughts or words?
I had one question. I know we spoke about it earlier. Just for a little bit, I know you guys are talking about the cops being arrested for the George Floyd. I did some just a little research, man. I'm a little scared about them upgrading charges, man. I'm scared about that.
Yeah, it might not stick.
Well, I was, a lot of people were calling for first degree, and I didn't realize this, but I put out a tweet and it blew up. I got, it's hard to get likes on Twitter. It got 2,000 likes on Twitter. I was like, what? It's a struggle. It's a struggle to get likes on Twitter. People don't care.
That mean they all was there before.
Yo, I was like, damn, where all of y'all came from? So what I said, what is that?
That's me.
Oh, I thought that was something else. I was like, what's going on over there? So,
sponsored by Playboy.
So it's I explained, no, you don't want first degree murder. They're never going to convict him on first degree murder because you have to show premeditation and planning. Yeah. That man did not get up in the morning and said, I want to kill George Floyd. Right. That's premeditation and planning. That man going out to buy a gun and then showing up at George Floyd's house and then shooting his head off. That's premeditation and planning. This was an arbitrary situation where this clerk called the cops. He just happened to be on duty. He just happened to be the responding officer. These are chances and happenstance. This is not a planned event. Now, did he make the choice while he was there for 9 minutes? I'm going to kill this man? Absolutely. You had people telling him he can't breathe. He's not, you killing him. You had one officer saying he doesn't have a pulse. You had people yelling, he's not moving. You had all these different outside factors telling you that you are killing this man. You did not care. Now you've made a choice. I'm going to take his life. So I understand why they upgraded to second degree because he did make that choice at that point when he was committing this felony, which he was assaulting George Floyd. Yeah. While he was assaulting George Floyd, he made the choice. I'm going to now kill him.
The thing is with the second degree is that even though I could agree with you, there are people that can argue that and that will argue that in court. And all you need is somebody, just one person to say, you make a good point. And murder 2 still does that.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I'm with you, just looking at the law and the years and everything that it carries and knowing the burden of proof, unfortunately haven't had to sit through murder trials of a loved one and understanding the burden of proof that has to be met for first degree. I already knew, just actually having that experience, this doesn't meet that criteria. So let's get him where we can get him. You don't want to do that and go to court and now, this man is walking free because you went for an unattainable charge that, again, when they go down and they give this jury the letter of the law, they have to go by the letter of the law and that burden of proof that was proven for that charge.
And I do think it's obtainable. It's just, man, we already behind the 8 ball, and these are going to be the finest of the finest lawyers. It's going to be their judges. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying? We are playing away in this game. So it's we need to, dot our I's and cross our T's when we can. And like I said, that's just my little worry on it. I hope it goes, the best. I hope I'm completely wrong. I hope we, nail this because his family does need justice. We as people need justice, and people need to be responsible for what they actually do to people. But man, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, I think, to be honest, third degree manslaughter was a slap in the face to his family. Third degree manslaughter is, I hit you by a car and you died.
I was driving drunk.
Right. You didn't mean to hit that person. Right. I mean, you didn't mean to kill that person. It was a mistake. This was not a mistake. He made a choice at a certain point in those 9 minutes. Right. You made a choice, especially when one person said that he don't got a pulse. You don't got a pulse. Let me get off this man. Nothing.
But that's why I think the other officers should be charged too.
Go ahead, that's my bad.
But that's why I feel like, because people were like, well, the other officers, they weren't physically on him. But like, if there are people on the street saying, get off of him, he can't breathe, so forth and so on, and there are other officers who are trained and they're not telling you the same thing, like they're just as guilty as you are.
Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah. Yep, that's how I feel.
But I do agree with Garnett,
been like, yo, like, and it was video. One officer could have done that, and none of them did it.
Yeah. I think the video does show second-degree murder, in my opinion. I'm not an attorney, you know. I don't know what the counter is going to be, but I don't think that they should have went first degree. I think you would have lost the case.
Yep.
And at this point, we just need a conviction. If one police officer can get convicted, that will send a signal of this is not something you can do anymore. You can go to jail, even if you're a police officer. I mean, they're not even police officers no more.
So, I hope so.
But let me say,
I just want to say, I think it's deeper, and I do think it starts a lot with the training, and that's why I said that. And again, knowing police officers,
you don't think this will change anything?
No, because we've been here before. Like it's not like the first time we've been here.
When has a police officer gone to jail for killing a black man?
There's been situations. I would have to look it up. I don't know right offhand, but there's been situations where they've gone to jail, but not like. But like, even with this situation, they weren't arrested right away. We had to bust the windows out of the Poppy store for them to go back and revisit this to pull them in. So I know it won't change, but what scares me though is if either one of them are not convicted, what we saw this past weekend that was so upsetting. That's gonna happen again.
Yeah, I agree. And to your point, I think when you're saying police officers will know, okay, well, again, we go to the situation, and I understand there was rioting and looting going on, but you see what happened in Atlanta with the CNN cameras taping and those two young people being pulled out that car and tased. So what we say, they should know. I don't think that the awareness is there. And the difference is those two officers were charged pretty much right away, you know, with whatever it is. And it's not as serious as the murder of a human being. But we had to, again, we're just getting these other three officers charged.
So
just a quick update. Amber Geiger was the one. Remember when she went into the man's house? She thought it was her apartment. She went into his apartment. She
was convicted. You're right. She definitely was. I remember that. And just as an update, we do know that for Ahmaud Arbery, his preliminary hearing, which I did watch, a lot of it was today, and the prosecutors in that case definitely said, or the judge said, there's enough evidence
to charge, right,
to keep going.
So I had the same sentiments, but then I heard Eric Gardner's daughter speak on CNN, and she kind of brought up something. She said that when her father was murdered, those police officers weren't even fired right away. You know, and none of them got. They're all fine now. You know, it took them. I think she said it took them 5 years.
It did.
For something to happen. So she sees a change in that. Boom! These officers were fired right away.
Okay.
You know,
there's not going to be any change. Again, there's awareness, but for particularly, especially racist police officers that are still on the force that we don't know, again, there's a lot of things that go off camera. There's a lot of times when you're told, oh, the body cameras just weren't working on the site. And that happened this past weekend in a case where they're saying all 13 police officers' bodies cameras weren't working. So I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to not happen. I do think there are changes, but I don't just think it's the last time that it's going to happen.
It's slow, but it's like, I think, did you guys watch Barack's town hall meeting?
Yeah, I watched some of it.
I mean, nobody wants to hear slow, because you should never hear slow in justice.
Absolutely.
Right? Like nobody, but there are small changes happening. I mean, even in the Ahmaud Arbery case, you know, I mean, all the protesting, all the things that people are doing are, you know, bringing justice somehow. It's slow and you have to fight for it, which it should never happen, but something is happening.
Yeah, I'm not negating that at all. That something isn't happening, but I do feel like primarily for police, and again, people have been saying this for years, the training, and I'm not ever saying that you're going to completely be able to weed out who's a racist and who's not.
Right.
But the training is not enough for you to hold a position where you really do have people. Again, Garnett said they're going to war. Life and death is in your hands every day. And as it comes to us as people and citizens, I have to go to school longer to become a hairdresser. Like, I got to go to school longer to become everything else, but I'm given this job and given this power and authority. It's not enough. So I hope that's one of the first things, which you hear little buds and, different. And I heard something going on in Philadelphia today, but I hope that's one of the first things that changes.
Yeah.
And this is the thing too about the police training is that like the way that they handle people out on the streets, that's not a part of that situation. You can't simulate that.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't simulate what's really going on in these inner cities and simulate a drug set and simulate somebody who just has a bad attitude and warrants. Like you can't simulate that.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that they do simulate, it's procedure. It is like we said earlier, it's more of the warfare thing, and it comes out as that. And we just got to do better, man. And the cops that aren't doing these things have to speak out and hold these people accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else? Any last?
I think that's it.
That's it. Well, I love you guys.
Dex is up now, man. Look at him. Look at Dex.
Dex is ready to go. He's tweeting.
No, this was fun. This is fun. Like, I really don't get to have these conversations that often. Like, I'm telling you, like, this is great.
Right.
Whatever, Dexter. This is great.
This is great.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening and watching now. The 132nd episode of the Mina's House podcast. I'm Mina SayWhat.
I'm Shana B.
Garnett Briscoe, a.k.a. Sherlock Homeboi.
Dexter Stuckey.
Thanks for checking us out. We'll be back hopefully next week. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
But if another thing doesn't happen and I have to mentally shut down. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.